Hi, my name is Pastor Sam. I have a web page or a YouTube page called Getting Outdoors with Pastor Sam. Let me just straighten this up just a little. Okay, maybe my head won't look sideways this way. I actually have a playlist on my YouTube channel called Getting Outdoors with Pastor Sam. The playlist is called East Tennessee Mountainman Magazine. What I want to cover, and I cover such topics on that preppers would use, survivalists would use, campers, just a different, it's not for everybody, but just different people will find this useful training. Today I'm going to talk about phonetics, how we can use phonetics, and why would we use phonetics? Well, we use them all the time. We're talking to people on the telephone and you say, my name is Sam Smith, but I spell it with a Y. And they're like, what? Sam Smith. How do you spell that? Smith. That would be Sam, Mike, Yankee, Kilo, Echo. We use some form of phonetics to tell them what we're trying to say letter. So we would say S is in Sam. M is in Mike. Y is in Yankee or yesterday. We use these phonetics so that people understand what our letters are meaning. We often do that on radio contact too. When you've got a group of people making contact, whether they're a four-wheel drive club, whether they're just a bunch of guys out hiking or camping, we'll oftentimes use phonetics. So it's important that we know at least some phonetics and how to use phonetics. They don't have to be exact. You don't have to know a phonetic alphabet to use phonetics. You may not ever use phonetics, but I bet you've used them before when somebody asks you, what was that? What was that letter? Was that a C or a B? And you say it was B as in boy or C as in cat. And so you used phonetics. Well, in the military, the paramilitary, law enforcement, survivalist, prepper, in those type of genres, we use phonetics all the time in radio contact, stuff like that. So today I'm going to give you a small class on use of phonetics. The military uses a phonetics. They use phonetics for unit designation. Unit A would be alpha. So if you had a company, a unit, say the company was the first company in the battalion, that company would be Alpha Company. The second company would be B or Bravo Company, and the third company would be C, Charlie Company. So military, paramilitary use designations like that for units. So we have to understand what phonetics are for as well, and not just that they're there to help us spell a word correctly, but they're also there to mean certain things. If somebody asks you, how's my radio sound? And they reply, Lima Charlie. What does that mean? It means L, C. What can L and C mean? Loud, clear. That's what we're wondering if our radio is coming through loud and clear. So Lima Charlie would be the phonetics for loud and clear. Why would we just not say loud and clear? Well, obviously we could. It's not important, but we get used to using phonetics, and so we use these phonetics in the simplest of things. At least I did when I was in the military. I'm a military veteran, so I want to just go into just a couple things here, and we're going to give you a few examples. All right, we have a location that I want my family to meet at, okay? And we have a list of locations. The first location is the high school. That's the first location where we meet. If we have a rendezvous point, that's our first location. And we're going to call that Alpha. And then our second one is at the grocery store, the supermarket. So we're going to call that Bravo. Now we're just simply designating these places as Alpha or Bravo. So we're going to put this down here. Now, why would we use alpha instead of high school? Well, first of all, you may not want everybody that's monitoring the airways to know where you're sending your wife by herself to meet you at. But if you and your wife has already got these two things down, you could tell her meeting at Alpha or meeting at Bravo. Or say that's one use. Another use is we got campsites. And our first campsite is at Elmer Fudd's. Elmer Fudd has 100 acres that he allows us to use. Well, Bugs Bunny, which is in a different part of the county, also has 50 acres that we use to camp. Well, in a crap hits the fan scenario and your wife and you are trying to get to these places as your bug out camps or whatever, and your wife calls and says, they just declared state of emergency, there's a flash flood, where can I go? And you tell her to meet at Elmer Fudd's, right? Well, if Elmer Fudd's in a well-known place, then everybody and their brother will hear you and won't be wanting to go to Elmer Fudd's. So Elmer Fudd today is Alpha A. Bugs Bunny is B. And she'll say, I can't make it to Alpha. I don't have enough gas. Would Bravo be all right? Say, yeah, we'll go to Bravo. So there's uses for phonetics, okay? We want to use phonetics. And it is just a way to have fun in communication. It's also a way in a real situation where people are being hostile. Say there's a group of people that are demonstrating and protesting and rioting, and your town comes under attack from these crazies, or there's a zombie apocalypse. Like that would ever happen, but there's a zombie apocalypse. You want to be able to communicate where you're going, what things are what, and phonetics are just a way to do that. So I'm going to quickly just run through the military phonetic that a lot of the military use: the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, and I probably EFG, Hotel India, and then the list goes on, okay? But you get the point of how we use words that we know start with that letter to indicate a letter. And so if you use phonetics, you can use them for locations, you can use them for codes, you can use them for different aspects of places, times. We're using a plan. You can have a plan. You can have your Alpha plan, your Bravo plan, and the plan would be pre-known to those that have met and discussed the plans before. And all of a sudden, when the implementation of plans comes into play, then you can put out a message saying, we are going to implement Alpha 1 or Alpha 2 or Bravo 1. That will tell people what plan you're selecting. So, and I want to go back over ciphers and keys, because this is important, and it is something that is a lot of fun. You want to find out where you're supposed to meet your cousin to exchange cars. He's going to be using your truck, but you want to do it for fun. You want to use codes. Well, you have a family code, and I like to use sharp knife. Excuse me while I write this out. Okay, sharp knife is your cipher. All a cipher is an encoded word that can mean something else. So we're going to use sharp knife as our and we're going to meet our cousin at McDonald's. But we don't want everybody that's listening in the back of our cousin's car to know that we're going to McDonald's. We want to surprise them. So we're going to say we want to meet at McDonald's. But McDonald's, if we look on our map, is got a longitude and latitude. So we're going to look on the map and see what the coordinates are for McDonald's in Hamburgerville, okay? And the coordinates are 321, 647. That's a 6-digit grid. Boop. That period right there in the middle means one's one, one's the other. So this is where I'm telling my cousin to go, but I'm going to use these letters in place of these numbers. Because if you type these numbers into Google Maps, you're going to get a place. So I'm going to start off with the easy way, give you guys the easy one. I'm going to start off with 0 equals S. And then we got each letter is going to equal number. So we just start 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, every letter in sharp knife is different, so it can have a number affixed to it. So if we're wanting to write this number out right here for Cousin Eddie, we're going to simply affix the number here. We got 3. We're going to start right there with R. I mean, this is the stuff that, you know, you get in cereal boxes and you learn to do this stuff. RA, because you got the 2 here going there, then the 1. So RAH, and then you got the 6. We're not going to draw a line there because we're getting away. And it's an N, a 4, which is P, and then a 7, which is I. So when we text Cousin Eddie, we're going to text him this right here. And so when Cousin Eddie's phone pops up, and he knows this is our cipher, starting with 0 at S, he can say, okay, let's see what we got here. He's gonna write this out, and then he's gonna simply say, well, R equals 3, so he's gonna write 3, and then A equals 2, and H equals 1, N equals 6, P equals 4, and I equals 7. And I'm gonna plug it in, and it's at McD's. So not only is Cousin Eddie going to meet me to borrow my truck, but he's also going to ask me for a double quarter pounder, and I'm going to say no, and you need to put gas in my truck before you return it. So this is how you use a cipher. Now, that's pretty simple. That's basic ciphering. Now, let's erase this here. And let's go a step further. Say you want to get into a little bit more sophisticated ciphering. Does S always have to equal, or any word that you have, you always have to start with 0 at the top? Absolutely not. So we can erase this here. We're going to use the same word, but now me and cousin Eddie said, all right, we're going to start using keys because we think that Eddie's mom is catching on to where we're going. I think she's figured out we're using this word sharp knife. But now we're going to try to see if she's really clever and see if we use a key, if she can find out what it is. So now we're going to use the key that a number is not 0 for S. We're going to say that the key is S equals 5. So 5 equals S now. So we're going to put the 5 here, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 always comes after the 9 or before the 1. So now S is no longer 0 because we've used the key. Now how do we write that key when we send Cousin Eddie? So we're going to send Cousin Eddie another, and we're going to move it from McDonald's to something else. We think we've been caught at McDonald's, so we're going to go to Wendy's. So now we're going to go, we got this, so we got to put in our key in our message. Okay, 5S. When we start out our grid, that's it, 5S, and then we're going to go 361, 475. Okay? So now when Eddie gets his text, he knows this is his key. So when he starts writing out sharp knife, he's going to start with the S equals 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 8. You see what I'm saying? And then instead of what he had before, he's going to end up with this. And then now he can go and say, okay, 3, right? Did I do it right? Yeah. Well, he would say, I would send it, I messed up. I would send it not, this is what he wants to find out, but I would send it like this. 5, S, and then 3 would be F, 6 would be H, 1 would be N, and then 4 would be E, and then 7 would be A, and 5 would be S. And so this is what he would get in the text message. 5S, yada, yada, yada. And then when he deciphered it, this is the grid that he would come up with. And then he would plot that into either a map, which he has, or Google Maps. And that would tell him that he's going to get a Frosty. Now guess what? Well, I like Frosties, but I'm not paying for Cousin Eddie's Frosty. Especially if he's gonna borrow my truck again. But this is just a quick class on ciphers and keys and how to use phonetics. I also want to tell you that if I'm going to meet Cousin Eddie here at Wendy's, shouldn't we put a time in? So when I send him this message right here, I'm also going to put an @ symbol, and then I want to meet him at 7:30. So 7:30, if I'm doing it at 7:30 in the morning, I don't know how many of you eat breakfast at 7:30 in the morning at Wendy's, but I don't want that. So I got to do 7:30 at night. Well, how do we do 7:30 at night? Well, we got two choices. We can do it at military time, which is 1930, which I simply go N, P, F, 0, which is K, which is 1930, which is easy. Or I can do something crazy, like just put 7:30, which would be at, and then we find our 7, A, and then our 3, F, and then 0, which would be K. And that would just be 7:30. And we hope Cousin Eddie knows that it's either AM or PM. But this is a quick class. Do you have to use the word sharp knife? Absolutely not. You can choose any 2-word combination, or you can just make up a list of 10 different letters. You can start with A and go 10 letters into the alphabet and stop, and then use that as your code. You can start with Z and work backwards and use those as your ciphers. So you don't have to have it, but it's a lot of times easier to remember when it's a word or 2 words that you know, like sharp knife or starved pig, starved cow. So there's a lot of words you think for a while, and you'll start to come up with combinations of words you can use. It's important that you communicate with your family and friends that hey, I'm going to use this. This is the word I use, and if I use a key, it'll look like this. So it's important in the fact that it isn't important and it's fun, and you're probably never going to use it except for fun. But if in a real world situation, if the society begins to crumble around you, like a lot of people sometimes think the possibility, which it is always out there, and you got somebody listening on the radio waves trying to find you. We've all seen the movie Red Dawn, and do I think that situation is viable? No, but it could happen. But anyways, this is a way to use phonetics to communicate, and numbers in the way of using letters to substitute numbers, so your numbers are not easily available to those that are listening, and hopefully that they can, we've got people in the military and our government and governments all over the planet who make their living deciphering code. So if you use something like this, you're by no means guaranteed that your code is going to be unbreakable. Trust me, it's breakable. But to the average person, this should suffice in encoding a message. If you want to give your phone number, I'm just going to give Hollywood's phone number, okay? Hollywood is 555 and X numbers, If you want to send a number to somebody, you send two messages. You send your cipher, and then you send in a second message. I would use a different media. Like if you're going to send a cipher, send your cipher on text. Okay, text your cipher. Say you're going to use sharp knife. Say, hey Bob, I'm going to send you my phone number. But I don't want to leave it on your phone so somebody can pick it up and find it. So I'm going to send you my phone number, but I'm going to use this cipher with the key being S = 0, and just pin in the rest. And then I'm going to send you the number on a different social medium, either Twitter. You can send it in email, send it in a fax, send it in Facebook even. I mean, if you just Messenger, if you send it on Messenger, send one on message, text message, send one on Messenger. So long as you're not using the same one and somebody gets on your phone and starts, sharp knife, wonder what that means. And then if right below it was your number with that code, then anybody can get a hold of your number, coworkers, whatever, they got a hold of your phone. But if you do it in a different medium of social media, then you may be more secure. So just use that. It's fun. And I hope you enjoy my little class here. I hope it shows up on the video just fine. As always, this is Pastor Sam. I just pray that you let God be the Lord of your life and that you enjoy His great creation. Go out and have fun being a prepper, a survivalist, getting out in the woods and just enjoying nature. Be safe and enjoy these little tricks and treats that you can use in communication with your friends and family. They make your communication just a little more secure. God bless, and as always, at East Tennessee Mountainman Magazine, we just want to wish you safe adventures in the outdoors.